So if you guys scan this QR code, this is for Upside. It'll help us with our travels. But for the meantime, we are back just streaming this peaceful drive. So my apologies, but had to stop earlier because, you know, when the wife calls, I gotta pull over and return her phone call to find out, because I know she was gonna go see Grandma. And with that being said, I didn't know if there was an issue with Grandma or what have you. So I gotta make sure, you know, family's good. And yes, family is good. Excuse me. Excuse me. Nice and bright bluish haze in the sky. 64 degrees. Got the window cracked open. Wouldn't mind to like, share this out, at least share out the channel, because I know these drives aren't for everybody. Hello, kiddo. I'll just call you Ping, I'm sorry. But hello, welcome. It's like an ambulance graveyard to the right there. And that's what I was talking about earlier. There's a lot of these mechanics out here in the middle of nowhere keeping these vehicles alive. It's really cool to see that. Transforming them into another vehicle or upgrading them from what they were, or restoring them. Speaking of vehicles, next Saturday is going to be Fuel Fest, so we're going to be headed up to Fuel Fest. I don't see a whole bunch of cars. Yes, please, if you see the merch store, check out that link. Help out the channel, help us get to some of these events. I hope you're kidding me, Perry. Thanks for subbing Seu WP. Thank you. Game complainers, I hope you're choking, right? Please tell me you're joking. Oh man. Rest in peace, Chuck. Now that is a true legend. Apparently you're talking to Perry, not me. But I wish the PAX South was still going on. Because I'd like to hit both PAX East and PAX South. I don't know if I might be able to hit PAX West someday. Thanks for coming back, Wicked and Perry. Even though Perry broke the bad news for me. Such a sad day. Maybe that's why it's a peaceful drive. Yeah, you know, sometimes we think we're going to live forever. And Chuck Norris was definitely one of those guys we thought would live literally forever. Even at his age, he still looked good and still moved around. Seeing you guys were talking about packs, is there anything you guys have been seeing and having an eye on that you might like be hyped about that's PAX related, or like an inside scoop that you know of for PAX? Show some good stuff at PAX. Hey, you never know, man. C Money and Doodle went to PAX. Was it last year or the year before? And they got some video out there and did some shorts and blew up. So it's a good place to engage and get content and grow the channel. You know what I mean? You know, it's a nice way to network. For instance, look at Perry and myself. Never heard of the Game Complainers before. They've never heard of DREADPOOL before. We both were at the Amico was it the conference, or it was an Amico event with Tommy Tallarico showing off the Amico. It was an exhibit. That's what it was at the Crayola Experience. And that's where we met. You know? Stalked them on YouTube to make sure that they were good people. And I let everybody know, even Mike Mullis, I told him, I said, no man, they're good people. Mike's backed me up on that too. So you never know when you network like that, meet people and go to places. You know, I even got Noof to bring Perry on as a guest, and loved Perry, and they've got a great friendship too now. So, here's Wicked. I've known Wicked for how long, and it's good to see that, the community is opening up to each other versus shutting each other down. But, again, it all stems from going to places and networking and talking and experiencing new things. And whether or not Wicked wants to experience new things with pineapples, that's on him. No judgment. Just messing with you, brother. Yeah, we could do that, Perry. I know Mike and I had discussed a while back about going back and doing like a reunion thing with some of the creators, but I know some of the creators had a fallout, and a couple of them went toxic. So yeah, don't talk to them or interact with them anymore. Level 857, those guys are still cool. They've got their own community going on, and every time they go live and I stop in, they're like screaming my name, and it's awesome to see that, you know, there's still love with that community and that group. Like I said, they're a bunch of good guys. It's all about the games for them. It's not about the console wars. So, great group of guys. It just dawned on me. The last Nintendo Direct was what, a couple weeks ago? I've yet to even sit down to watch them. Been so busy. I haven't even turned on my Xbox in the past 2 weeks. Work, go home, sleep, wake up, go back to work. Dude, I so hope so, man. Like I said, I mean, look at the Cube, right? The Cube literally outsold the Switch, outsold PlayStation, obviously outsold Xbox. But the Cube, nobody's ever heard of it, and it outsold all these consoles. Make that make sense. You know, and the camera, it comes with what, 5 games, three or 5 games, and in order to get more games, you got to subscribe. You can't buy the games, you got to subscribe to the service to get access to those other games. And once you turn off that service, you don't have access to those games. But it's a little freaking camera that you sit there and look at yourself on TV moving around like a Kinect, only with no technology but other than the camera. And this thing outsold a lot of these major consoles, but nobody's ever heard of it. So now make that make sense. So when all these fanboys talk about all this crap about this and that, again, it's just a whole bunch of little people talking a lot of shit. Should be talking about games, not the consoles. I mean, great. It's nice that you can play on the console you want to play on. It's nice that the game could be wherever it is, even if it's not on other places, whatever. But how does a small cube outsell? I mean, it doesn't even outperform. It's questionable at best, and it's still outsold. So why can't we just get the Amico out there? It's not meant to compete with PlayStation or Xbox or PC for that matter. And it's really not for the hardcore people. You guys got me on a run here, man. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be a peaceful drive. But this is the hypocrisy that's out there. Remember when they were talking about how huge the Xbox was? How huge the PlayStation 5 was? They forgot that there was a Panasonic 3DO that was still is bigger than those were proportionately. Talking about the volume of space that thing took was still the biggest console ever. And these fanboys go back and forth crying about this and that, like they're like superior to you. They're your gaming savior. Right, Perry? I mean, everybody's all about buy American. Well, if you're gonna buy American, why are you doing that? Why are you buying something that is questionable? Like I said, you know, a lot of people don't have networks where they lock down their network. I've got something right now that my network's locked down, but I'm actually looking at, and I've been looking at it, you know, Perry knows about the stuff that I've been looking at. Now they got a newer one that's smaller and faster, so luckily I didn't dip into it, but I'm looking at getting another system that I can actually segregate more of my devices from each other and lock it down, you know, lock it down better, so nothing gets in, nothing gets out without my approval. And they can't even see each other without my approval. You know, but everybody else just, you know, you get your router from your provider and you can't do shit. All you do is you hook up to it and connect, and there you go. You don't even know if they're hacking into your light bulb. Come to find out, there's like a chip in there, and they're hacking into your light bulb, and they hack into your network, and now your PCs are all infected. It's just a hypocrisy of certain technologies are first, and you know you can't do that. But then when you do that with other technologies, or the same technology later on down the road after, you know, and yes, I'm going to say Microsoft, because, you know, the Kinect was great, but everybody hated it. And I definitely am on the same page with everybody of, you shouldn't force me to buy it. Granted, I wanted to buy it anyway, so it wasn't a big deal for me, but I do agree, if you didn't want the Kinect, it shouldn't have been forced onto you, and it shouldn't have been forced as part of the system. You know, living proof, they've removed the Kinect from it. But I like to see her Kinect make a return. Yet everything's so bad. Everything's so bad. Now we have Alexa spying on us. We've got Google doing the same thing. Look at all the controversy that they had where you said to play a certain song, and all of a sudden you find out that this children's kid song, it wasn't a children's kid song. It glitched it out be some sort of pornographic stuff that children should not be having access to or listening to, and didn't even know how to get there, and it did it, and adults had to figure it out. How much of it was faked, I couldn't tell you, but it was out there. Yeah, right, Perry? Connect was evil. Well, look at, you talk about whatever, right? I'm going to mention it now, and we'll see how many people have run into this just by listening to this podcast. Or podcast, whatever, stream, right? We're going to talk about Pampers or Huggies diapers, right? Just saying that, and now you watch the advertisements pop up. I know I'm going to see it now. Your phone's listening. Everybody's listening. Everybody's watching. You know. And I have friends and know people in certain places of government that can attest to the government's always listening. They are not actively listening. They have computers that are actively listening, but they're only listening for keywords because there's just too much commotion going on for them to listen actively to your personal life. But once you have those keywords pop in and they start flagging you, and then they start listening more and more attentively for more stuff. It's just like YouTube. You watch whatever, and all of a sudden you start watching something different. What do you think YouTube's going to do? They're going to start feeding you the new interest just because you had this new interest in something else. Even if you clicked on that video that you didn't mean to click on, YouTube thinks that's a new interest that you may have been curious about. So they're going to feed you more of that. Why? Because they want to get ahead of the curve and keep you on the system. They want to keep you locked in. They don't want you going to Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. They want you locked into theirs. And the same thing. Those other places do the same thing. So they're all listening. So what's the difference? It's just like hypocrisy. Idiocracy and hypocrisy are running down the street holding hand in hand, playing with scissors as they run. Trust me, I saw it the other day. Something random popped up that we were talking about that had nothing to do with anything, but it just, something random popped up, and next thing you know, I see an advertisement for it. So yeah, we know everybody's listening. I wanted this to be a peaceful drive. Oh, I think barbecue's on the menu for today for lunch. I think that's what we're gonna do. Get some barbecue. And I didn't bring my cameras with me, so I may have to just take pictures on the phone. They're reading your mind, Perry. Get the tin foil, turn it into a hat, Keep them off your brainwaves. So the plan is, once I get done with this, get all the other shit that I got to take care of at home. I've got a Breaking Bread with Dread that's dropping today with Carlo. We start talking about AI, and sure enough, there's somebody listening to us. And as we start getting into the AI talk, kid you not, you'll notice it because you see my reaction. They crank up the music. So I had to cut it short. Now, Perry, are you going to PAX also, or is it just going to be Wicked and Bates? Because I believe Wicked said Wild Bates is going to be with him and another friend going to PAX. PAX East, isn't that Boston? I want to say it's in Boston. Man, I am getting hungry now. Might have to stop and get lunch before I actually get to my job site. Now, like I said, give me a heads up. I want to make sure that I can take the time, and I don't want to interfere or be intrusive with your vacation. But I know we want to hang out, but I also want to be able to hang out when we're able to. I don't want to be like, okay, well, this is the only day I can hang out, and you guys got other plans. You know what I mean? Because I definitely want to go to Universal. I haven't been there yet for Epic Universe. They got the new Fast and Furious ride that they're testing out. That's going to start up. That's going to open soon. So, bet your ass they're going to be busy again. Oh yeah, trust me, I love the original King Kong ride. I love the ride. I wouldn't mind if they had touched it up. Maybe replace some of the mechanics on the ride. The Mummy ride is still great. It's still there. They just kind of let it go to shit a little bit. but for the most part, it's still good. The disaster movie set was fun. I loved that, man. I wish I had camera stuff back in those days. I would have documented that too. That would have been cool to see. But now that's the Fast and Furious ride. Or was it the Fast and Furious ride, or was it the Dinosaur Kong and the Dinosaur ride? I think I can't remember now. Well, we did the King Kong and the dinosaurs. So the King, you know, the new King Kong, which really sucks. We stopped going right before Fast and Furious. They had what's that TV host guy's name? I forgot his name now. The Late Show guy. Right? Is it The Late Show? I can't remember. Well, anyway, he's got that panda. I remember that. I don't know what this panda stuff is. But, anyway, whatever his name is, that's how much of I think about him. And my wife and one of my friends had already gone on it, and they said it's not worth it, it sucks, da 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 da. And I was like, that's fine, but I want to do it, so I know. I'm like, it's one thing to know that something sucks, but without experiencing it, how do you know? You know, a lot of people liked it, and I know a lot of people said it sucked. So it wasn't, you know, so it maybe I'd fall on the opposite side of maybe I like it. So I made them go with me. I was like, I'm going regardless. Can we please get a Jay Leno ride? Dude, Back to the Future, the Hanna-Barbera, yeah, Jaws, Hulk Hogan ride would be cool. Yeah, could you imagine that though? You'd go through the Glory Days and Thunder Lips and Baywatch, and or not Baywatch, whatever it was, whatever he had that he. What was that called? Can't remember what that was called. But yeah, you go through the different stages of where Hulk was at that time. And then you dip into the dark ride where he goes into NWO phase. Oh yeah, Terminator 3D. I love that. I love that. You know, they have the speakers on either side of your ears, right? And I remember sitting there the first time I was in there, and it goes something like, you know, oh my God, look at that, she's ugly, or something like that, and you hear, yeah, she kind of looks like my mother-in-law or something like that. I seriously thought that was somebody in the back, and I heard it again, and I'm like, oh, that's actually in the soundtrack, because I heard it again, and I was like, you know, like a year later or something, like whatever that was, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I thought that was real. I thought somebody said that. Yeah, it looks like my mother-in-law. And I was like, all right, cool, dude, thanks for being funny. And then come to find out, that was done on purpose. Now, what are the chances of, like, however many months later, let's say a year later, that somebody does the exact same line right around the same spot? What are those chances? I'd say slim to none. What are you doing, dude? And then this guy. There you go. Now you guys got a brain. Yeah. Oh, man, those were great rides, man. Although the Minions, which was Hanna-Barbera, turning into Jimmy Neutron, and now it's the Minions, or at least the last time I was there was the Minions. I don't know what it is now because it's been so many years. But those were all good rides, and it's sad to see that they all went out like that. I do have the Shrek ride, the 3D one. I have it on DVD and 3D. I've got the, the standard format and the 3D version. I bought the disc way back when, so you don't see the physical part of the gags, because there are some parts where they actually have physical comedy in the seating area. But yeah, there's so many great rides. You look like Shrek. You got to get your little antenna ears up there, though. They did have. I know the last couple times I went there, but we went there for Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. They have a donkey section where Donkey talks to you and stuff, and you can take a photo op, and then Shrek will be there for a photo op, and it's right around the corner from. Usually it's Megatron that stands there for Transformers to do a photo op. They're like they're on the same block, which is one's on one side, one's on the other, and then obviously opposite sides of the streets too. But yeah, they I couldn't tell you which park I loved the most, only for the fact I love each park for what it is. I can tell you the rides I don't like, yada yada yada, all this and that. But I do favor, at one point in time I did favor Disney more, another point in time I did favor Universal more, but I think it just goes back and forth depending on the rides that they take out and the rides that they put in, and obviously when we go there, the experiences we have with the people around us. And for the most part, up until recently, we stopped going to Disney World because of COVID and all the BS that was going on with the CEO, and Bob Iger's back, and now he's crapping all over Disney. And I understand he was trying to fix the that other Bob before that came in after him, and before him, but he didn't fix it. He made it worse, and he had it at a good spot when he left the first time. So it's sad to see where Disney is gone. You know, and Universal, I mean, I love the Simpsons ride, but man, why couldn't we just kept, you know, Back to the Future and just made a Simpsons ride next to it or something? You know what I mean? I get it. I get it. When they want to do a refresh, they got to do a refresh. Oh, and they're doing a refresh on ET. They're cleaning it up because they can't let it go. But I guess they're going to make another ET ride or something. I don't know the full specs or the rumors or what have you. But I guess they're doing some work on the ET ride again. Yes, exactly. Any CEO named Bob. Oh my God. Because you got one Bob over here at Activision, you got the two Bobs at Disney. Yeah. Maybe that's why they went with someone named Asha for Xbox, because it was like the furthest away from Bob. I should have been eating at the 1950s diner and the 2015 diner. BTTF. Side of the park, BTTF. Oh, Back to the Future. Oh, yeah. There's, the reason why I got lost was because I was thinking the 1950s diner. There's that one over at, where was it? MGM, that's where it was. No. Yeah, it was MGM, which is now, oh crap, what's it called? Disney World, Animal Kingdom, Epcot. What's the fourth one? Disney Studios. Yeah, the Disney Studios one had, when you walk in, you make a left and you go around the lake. There's a 1950s diner there. And they have all those old TVs and old episodes in black and white running, and everything's curved with the pea green and the pink and the baby blue, and that's where I was headed at in my head. Yeah, they should have had the 1950s diner out there. That would have been cool to get that on, you know, recording, get that on film and the experience. Yeah, people want to be part of the films. That's why this, and I feel weird bringing this up, but Adam the Woo was like a huge movie buff, and he would go to these filming locations. Tampa J does that too now. Some of these other, you know, vloggers do this too. But that was something that they all used to do, was go to these places, because they wanted it to be that nostalgia of the film, to be where it was recorded, to be a part of that in their own way. You know, sadly he passed away in his sleep, but you know, that's the nostalgia I want when I do Breaking Bread with Dread. I want you guys to to feel like you're a part of it. And then if you guys do go to those places, to have that nostalgia, you know, too, to be like, oh man, you know, this is where they were. And it wasn't because of Adam the Woo. Before I even knew him, funny thing is I had him on last year's MegaCon video, and I said, oh, and I'm pretty sure it was him, and I said, oh, I don't know if you noticed who that is, but that's somebody I want to run into later on in life. You know, I want to stop him, but he looked busy and I was kind of busy, and he was an inspiration to a lot of people. So, and it's weird to see that part of the vlogging community of movies and places, film locations, you know, abandoned areas, you know, different places like that. Just, you know, and people are still, you know, enjoying life and having a good time. And it's sad that he passed away, you know, a couple months back. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to do. It'd be nice that these companies would even catch on to that. I talked to, where was it? It's it used to be called Bucala, now it's DREADite. I talked to Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, Howl Scream. I talked to those guys, and I told them, I said, do you guys realize that the anniversary for Dr. Paul Bearer, the original one, had passed, and you guys did not do anything to honor him? Like, you guys don't even realize you have his hearse. His hearse is on your lots somewhere. It's on one of your lots. And the only reason why I know that is because I've with going to Tampa Bay Screams, they're doing a Dr. Paul Bearer Honor Society. So I've attended those places. Not all of them, but I've attended some of those events, and there's people that have connections to Dr. Paul Bearer. And they said Busch Gardens has the car, and they were surprised that they didn't do anything for the anniversary. And I was like, what? And here I am telling this guy, and this guy had no idea. He's like, I'm gonna go find out. And in case you guys don't know who Dr. Paul Bearer is, Dr. Paul Bearer did the horror movies on Saturday mornings / mid-morning afternoons after cartoons were over, and he did that for the Florida area, and it was like syndicated elsewhere. And I knew of him before I moved down here. Don't ask me how, but somehow I knew of him. And I have his picture that was in the obituary, his picture that was on the front page of the newspaper for his obituary picture. I have that framed in my house. So, am I a super fan? No. Am I a huge fan? Yes. And now this other guy bought the rights, and he is filling in as the second Dr. Paul Bearer. And I know the community had issues with that. Some people were like, it's fine, whatever. Some people were like, you can't do that, da 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 da. But he bought the rights, and as long as he honors the memory of the original and he continues on that legacy, I don't think I have a problem with it. And I don't think anybody else should have a problem with it either. with Dread, I thought you took my wife to Greece. That place looked exciting. Yeah, dude. I love that place. There's other places out there too, so don't think that that's the only place. But that's like the one place that we do for like the show. There's other places that we do that are, you know, if you want more of a home cooking style, there's other places up and down the road there. So they even have the Acropolis, which is a restaurant, and they, you know, their claim to fame was being in Miami and you know, going from there and other places to having belly dancers and napkins all over the place. You know, just it was like a party from a certain time to a certain time, and everybody, the place would get packed. It was a restaurant that ended up being like a club, and now, you know, and this is before COVID, and now it's not as big as it was, but at that time, holy cow, that place was hugely popular. You had people standing in line on the side of the road waiting to get in because it was that popular. And they would do the whole party scene inside the restaurant. They had belly dancers jump up on tables, and again, instead of throwing plates because they were being cautious for lawsuits, they were throwing paper napkins all over the place. So yeah, like I said, it's amazing how a lot of these places could be. And I want to be able to travel and get that experience so you guys can see what it's like too, to understand it. I mean, like I said, we went to Jimmy Fallon, that's who it is. Go to Jimmy Fallon, and they're like, it sucks. But until you see it, how do you know? Yeah, it wasn't all that great. It was overhyped. But the huge Jimmy Fallon fans love it. So it's not for me, but I don't think it sucked as bad as they made it out to be. I think I'd rather watch paint dry. Yeah, Leno's a lot more interesting. Even when he's not trying to be a comedian, he's a lot more interesting. Leno is more of a man's man because of, you know, his knowledge of cars. It's not just he's a car collector, he's got knowledge of cars. He does the work. I mean, heck, he caught himself on fire. Working on a car, you know what I mean? And he still fights back and comes back. Yeah, they don't know how to navigate. There's a way to cross the line, but be right on the edge of the line with your jokes. And a lot of these guys don't know how to cross the line properly. Either they don't cross the line or come close to it because it's a fan of theirs, or they overly cross the line and over exaggerate and make stuff up, you know, just and I don't get it. That's why I don't watch it. It's like, why does it why does it have to be about that? Why not just make something, talk about something else? I get you got to talk about current events. I get that. But a lot of times it's like, why do you have to go there? And then you got to backtrack. So if you never went there, you never would have had to backtrack. And a lot of it is misinformation anyway, so why even bother? Speak your truth. Make your jokes. Dude, if the network did that, that would be kind of cool. If you can land the good joke, nobody cares. And that, well, I think part of it is also, you look at Carson and Leno and, back in those days, you could do outrageous things. You could say outrageous things. People know jokes were jokes, which is why a lot of people didn't care, which is why a lot of jokes actually hit. Now, you have people telling jokes, and people are like, you can't joke about that. And it's like, okay, what? You can't joke about deaf people or handicapped people or anything like that. In the meantime, that person's like, you don't speak for me. I just watched a collection of shorts with Matt Rife, and this one lady thanked Matt for making fun of handicapped people and leaving them, keeping them included in the jokes. And she's in this wheelchair. I don't know what her condition was, but it was one of those that she's got the little joystick to control the movement of the wheelchair, and she's like propped up type deal, so you can see that her, like, the lack of muscle in her arms. I guess I'm trying to explain it. I don't even know how to explain it. But yeah, she thanked them for, including everybody and not leaving people out because of this and that. And then, in the meantime, you got other people, these Karens, speaking up because they had to, they're not speaking up to help those people to like do that. They're the fake saviors. But it's all about, look at me, not protecting somebody. It's under the guise of I'm helping. No, it's look at me. You look at all these aggressors that turn around and then pretend to be victims when the victim turns around and fights back. And now they're like, oh, I'm the victim here. You were the bully in the first place. And now you're gonna cry. No. If you would have been a nice person in the first place, this person wouldn't have latched back at you. Exactly, Karens just want attention. Eddie Murphy made his name on including everyone. Yes. I remember when he was in the, which one was it? Was it, it was the one where he's in the red Michael Jackson jumpsuit, where everything was tight on him, the red leathers, and he's like walking around. He's like, I got to keep walking around because I can feel the heat from the gay people staring at my ass. And you know, I mean, nothing was really wrong, you know. But nowadays, people say something like that, and it's like, oh, you're no. A joke's a joke. If I could tell you what was said to me, I'll have to tell you like in private, because stuff that was said to me was pretty bad. And I didn't take no offense to it. I wasn't welcoming it, but I wasn't taking offense. I still remember it. I think it's kind of funny because it just came out of nowhere when they said that. And that was upon introduction. Yes, Eddie Murphy Raw. Yeah. Watching Eddie Murphy, watching Cheech and Chong, I mean Richard Pryor. All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys go here. I have trying to figure out, there should be a barbecue place around here. So maybe I'll be back for the barbecue. Maybe I'll just take some pictures. I don't know. It all depends on how long this takes. Maybe I'll just take it to go. Yes, Up in Smoke. Oh. I remember my uncle showing me the vinyl. So hopefully this was peaceful for you. I know Perry got me excited with some of the talk that we had about Amico and Connect. Perry ran me through a roller coaster with the passing of Chuck Norris. My heart still aches about that news. So just remember, you never know when it's your time. So be good to everybody. Make the place a better place than we have it now. And try to show people how to be a better person by leading the way and setting the example versus this toxicity drama that everybody does to get attention. So don't be a Karen. Be better than that. So love you guys. Take care and thanks again.